Hi, I'm Paul Friedman. Welcome to the Marriage Foundation channel. Hope you're a subscriber. If not, it'll take you 2 seconds. Go ahead and click on that. This is where people come to get the real truth about real marriages, because I was a divorce mediator before I got into this, so I've seen it all. The Marriage Foundation's been around for a long time. Over 22 years I've been working on these kinds of things, and all of us here are dedicated to helping you with your marriage. That's all we do. We don't do grief counseling or things like that, strictly marriage. And this topic, how to rebuild trust in a marriage after an emotional affair, is a very good question, and I've got some really good answers for you. So let's take a look at what really occurred, that there was an emotional affair. And by the way, this is okay also for regular affairs, not just emotional affairs. It happens. Our world is so in a strange place, let's put it that way, that affairs are fairly commonplace. They're not like rampant like in the movies, but they are commonplace. And so what an affair means, emotional or otherwise, is that the person who was seeking love elsewhere wasn't getting what they needed from you. And so, or maybe you're the one who had an emotional affair, and so you want to clean things up. Either way, the answer is the same. The answer is that because your marriage wasn't working, there was an emotional affair. Because it wasn't working. Does that mean that there wasn't love? No, there's love. But it means that, like virtually all of us in the world, we have no idea about what marriage really is. I'm going to get into this. I'm just not going to just throw out that statement, or what benefits we're supposed to get from marriage, or how to behave in marriage. They don't have those classes in school. We should be taught, and I'm not blaming anyone, but we should be taught throughout our youth certain core principles that really have a lot to do with marriage. And we all get married in this world almost, and yet we don't learn about marriage. It's kind of insane if you think about it. But it's not understood. So let's start with what marriage actually is. And I may lose you at this point, and that's fine. But this is truth. Marriage is an individual spiritual path. It is a spiritual path that you have chosen to take with your soulmate. What do I mean by a spiritual path? Because this is not a religious organization. Spiritual path is one upon which we move towards an evolution of ever-expanding love and ever-expanding happiness. That's all a spiritual path is. Typically, it's someone who is seeking God. Why? So they could experience the deepest of love. But you can have the same thing in your marriage, because love is a universal truth. It is, in fact, you might say, the only reality. Everything else comes and goes. But love is a constant. Anytime you calm yourself, you go within, you feel peace first, and then a little happiness, and then you feel that love. That's what meditation is. And so when we get married, we're doing that in order to experience that love, so that we could experience that joy, that happiness. Well, we're not taught that. And if you think about it, take a minute or two and think about it, you'll realize it's true. That's why we get married, to be happy. We get married to feel love. We get married to live harmoniously with our soulmate. We're not taught that. We're not taught anything real about marriage. Where did you learn about marriage? You learned about it from television, sitcoms. You learned about it from movies. You learned about it from seeing your friends, maybe your parents, and you have all of these misconceptions about it. It's like getting into a Lamborghini and not being able to even start it. You don't know what to do. So someone starts it. Do you take so-and-so? Do you take so? Yes, okay, it started. Your marriage has begun. What do you do now? You do your best. But it's hard without a game plan. So your marriage wasn't working. And that's why there was an emotional affair. Now, what do? Well, you want to rebuild trust. You cannot rebuild trust. Trust is a natural outcome from understanding each other, from feeling connected with each other, from realizing that you and they would never do anything to hurt each other. And because of human nature, we can't stop this lack of trust. We can't stop it in ourselves, we can't stop it in each other, but what we can do is we can rebuild the dynamics that don't allow mistrust. Pretend that you're in a building and there's a big hurricane and the roof blows off and some of the cabinets fall and it's a mess. Well, the house wasn't strong enough to withstand the force of the hurricane. So you go back to build that house, and you can afford to, in this case you don't need to afford to, and you can afford to build it much stronger. And then it stands against the hurricanes that come. And so this is what you need to do now with your marriage. You need to rebuild it to where it withstands the temptations, if there are any. Actually, if you're doing your marriage correctly, there's no temptation to stray in any way, shape, or form. Because like that Lamborghini that is designed to take you fast and in comfort and with fun down the road, your marriage is literally designed to produce happiness, love, and harmony. It's a design. But if you don't know how to drive it, you won't get it. So the answer is, you don't work on the trust. You rebuild your marriage according to the structural design requirements. For those of you who understand what I just said, you learn how to behave, you learn how to control your mind, you learn how to interact properly, you learn all of the necessary things you need to know in order to have a great marriage. Where do you get that information? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Here, at the Marriage Foundation. Many people have utilized these videos to help their marriage. Many people have gone further. They've read some of my articles. You could get on our mailing list. It's very easy. You just go to the website and you click on the 10 top do's and don'ts, and you'll learn something and you'll be on our mailing list. You could get one of my books. If your marriage is in serious trouble or you're having a really difficult time with this, you get one of the courses. It's very affordable. And if it's not so affordable, you could stretch out the payments to where it's under $10 a week. We have everything. We have a service where you could write to one of our counselors for free, anytime. You don't have to be a member. And they'll help you. You could also, if you are following these, so you could improve your counseling because you're a counselor or a clergy, you could become a TMF marriage counselor, or at least learn all of the things that we have for you. And it'll help you tremendously. In any way, we're all about marriage. Only marriage. So thank you for visiting. Again, I'm Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. I'm glad you came by. I hope to see you again. God bless you. And don't worry, there's a lot you can do. Take care.